DHL recently released a white paper predicting that online B2B will increase by more than 70% in year 2027. That's what, 6 years ahead. This prediction drive DHL to come up with this B2B e-commerce. What is it? It's an ultimate guide, isn't it?
Ultimate guide. Correct. So no, thanks, Adrian. Thanks for the warm introduction, and good morning to everyone. Welcome to this webinar. No, you're absolutely right, Adrian. That was definitely a major drive for the launch of this ultimate guide, right? So first and foremost, I'd like to share. Not everybody knows what B2B e-commerce is all about. So a definition from my side would be a business buying from another business where the full interaction, including payments and shipping, is facilitated online via a transactional website without the need to become a customer first, log in into a gated portal, or speak to a salesperson, which is the traditional part of how we do or buy things today. So from my end, I think my thoughts are the B2B world is definitely undergoing a period of intense transformation. We on this side of the logistics under essential services are experiencing that change. We're seeing so much changes in supply chain, buying behaviors, customer experience as well. So traditional methods of B2B operations, from sales to customer interactions, from fulfillment to order delivery, are changing rapidly. And while the B2B world is already moving online, the pandemic, which is COVID-19, accelerated the whole process, meaning B2B transactions are even becoming more data-driven and less dependent on traditional one-to-one sales activity. So in 2019 alone, global sales on B2B e-commerce sites and marketplaces jumped at 18.2% to reach a huge amount of US dollar 12.2 trillion. And that is even outpacing the B2C sector. We constantly look at all B2C, it's growing so fast and all that, right? But B2B e-commerce is growing at even a faster rate. And to what you have mentioned, Adrian, this amount will reach 20.9 trillion US dollar by 2027. So Forrester alone predicts the US B2B e-commerce market, right, alone will reach 1.8 trillion US dollar, and this will account for close to 17% of the B2B sales in the US. And these numbers was predicted pre-COVID, pre-pandemic.
So, Julian, we are moving from figures of increase from million to billion, and now I just hear you say trillion. So, with that said, Lance, going into the next 3 to 6 months, right? How would you explain the adoption or evolution of the current B2B e-commerce scene right here in Malaysia? Because, that Malaysia is really your forte.
Yeah. Thanks for hosting us. So in the past, right, maybe 3 to 6 months actually seemed like a lifetime, but we've actually seen company digitalization efforts really that normally takes 3 years ramped into 3 months just to survive. So I feel although a lot of companies have already started some form of transformation, right, it's not nearly enough. So it's going to be a very interesting 6 months to see how companies evolve further. Last year, we saw a lot of companies go online, right? Go online selling, go social media, go digital marketing on a large scale. Even ourselves, I mean, for us, we've been traditionally very face-to-face, but until up to last year's MCO, right? We struggled at first, just like everyone else, but I think we're getting better at it. So our mantra in Vlan Asia is that we eat our own dog food, you see. So we consume what we sell, you see. So and if we can't use it ourselves, we don't know how to do it ourselves, and we don't know how to sell it. So digitalization is ever evolving, and I don't think there's anyone who can actually stand up and say, "Oh, I'm fully ready, I'm fully digitalized now, so thank you very much, I don't need any more help." So it's an ongoing process of constant renewal and improvement. So there's always going to be something to improve on. So yeah, it's going to be a very interesting 6 months.
The fact that you speak of improvements, you speak of what I would paraphrase as pivoting, right, from last year to this year. You yourself, as you say, you're consuming your own diet. Julian, if I could get you to perhaps give us a perspective of the changes that you see, the evolution that you see, the adoption of e-commerce, particularly B2B, that you see from a Southeast Asia perspective, or even from Asia Pacific, from that perspective, because DHL. I think you guys are just about the only ones that are traveling, right?
Yes, you're right, Adrian. Allowed to travel under essential services. Even during the last hoo-ha, we were still trying to get approval from Meet online to ensure that we are also essential services. No, you're absolutely right. B2B e-commerce will continue to grow exponentially in Asia, undoubtedly, right? The pandemic has sort of big time accelerated the situation. Gartner studies estimates that within the next 5 years, 75%, hear this, yeah, 75% of B2B procurement spending will be done online. All right, 75%. In Asia alone, Forrester is forecasting a 12% per annum growth in B2B e-commerce. And with B2B online marketplaces being the prevalent mode of businesses. So today, let me give you an example, right? We typically, DHL is a sizable company. We employ close to 8,000 people in Malaysia. And typically we order our pantry supplies from vendors and all that. We have just embarked on an online marketplace where each facility, we operate in like 24 facilities and 6 gateways in Malaysia, right? Typically, these facilities will then go through our central procurement. I want to order 10 bags of coffee, 15 reams of A4 paper. They can now do it online via a portal. So B2B e-commerce has flourished in Asia, backed by the factors of government support, as you can see in Malaysia. I'm sure Yong will speak more about it from a Sidec perspective. Rising mobile penetration, all right? The growth of B2B marketplaces as well as customers enabling transactional websites on the bread.com alone will be prevalent. In Malaysia alone, changing market dynamics and buying behavior has accelerated this need to embrace e-commerce, right? The need to redefine the supply chains and fulfillment operation is even much stronger today. B2B e-commerce have allowed many buyers to access a larger pool of suppliers, not just your typical, I mean, we've been using our A4 paper vendor for the last 10 years, right? But today when we open up to marketplaces, there's so many people who could participate, increasing choices and spreading the risk. So businesses today are more well informed, right? And have support from both the government and private players to better flourish in this segment.
Julian, having said that, I think the other thing that comes up very clear in your ultimate guide is I think the tagline. It says frighteningly enough, it says tradition is out, digital is in. The study predicts strong growth for the B2B e-commerce market in the coming years, and by 2025, not even 2027, 2025, 80% of all B2B sales interactions between suppliers and professional buyers will take place using the digital channels. So how can the B2Bs benefit from this ultimate guide?
Okay, good question, Adrian. If you go through and have a chance to download the ultimate guide later, you will see there are 4 key benefits shared in the guide. So first and foremost, I think, which is very important, and all companies, whether big, small, medium size, are looking for, is increase in profit and price control. So sellers or manufacturers will get the full manufacturers, what we call as MSRP, suggested retail price, rather than the wholesale price for their products when selling through your distribution channels. All right, so you can sell direct, as what Michael Dell has always taught us many years ago, to cut down middlemen, right? And then that's the first benefit, increased profit and price control. Second one would be faster time to market. Manufacturers or sellers can now get the products to market very quickly instead of contending with a lengthy traditional sales cycle, going through distribution, have a warehouse here and all that. So you can now go straight to market. So that's faster time to market. Third one would be your brand control. Manufacturers can now own their own brand. I spoke a little bit about brand.com earlier, right? This won't be diluted or misrepresented by third parties, which is typically your middlemen or distributors. Last but not least, you get to own your customer data. Data is the new, I don't know whether it's oil, no more oil. We spoke about electric cars before this, but it's a new oxygen, I guess, right? Selling directly online allows you to own those data, collect the data, and ultimately results in better product positioning, stronger relationship, and increase in sales ultimately. Yep, so 4 benefits.
4 benefits, and I think, Julian, I agree with you. Data is the new superpower, isn't it? It's the new Avenger.
Correct.
Lens,
Stronger than Thanos.
Precisely. Lance, I'm going to ask you the question in relation to what Julian has just said. As the digitalization specialist, and that's essentially what you are, you help businesses in brick and mortar become digital, right? How do you stack up in this guide, and what do you think the companies that are out there in Malaysia, what are they lacking?
So one of the reasons why we felt this white paper resonates so well, right, is that because out of the 5 areas that it predicted that will drive digital evolution, right, we actually cover 4 of them. The 5 areas like digital infra, customer experience, personalization, omni-channel, and synchronized logistics, right? So the first 4 I mentioned is actually our bread and butter. We do this every day. So because we've been a Microsoft house for the longest of time, right? So digital infra is something that we do naturally through our Microsoft 365 productivity tools and some Azure infrastructure as a service offerings. Customer experience, personalization, and omni-channel are both covered by 2 of our products that we carry, Zendesk and HubSpot, both of which we actively advocate to businesses, high and low now. And I mentioned earlier that businesses started to go online selling, social media, digital marketing last year, right? This year is the year of consolidation, I feel, because how do companies do better with these new channels that they started, you see? Yes, you could have 3 or 4 more new staff to actually pick up the phone to answer your customers' WhatsApp, Facebook, Twitter, Insta, all you name it. But all of those are very disjointed. So wouldn't it be more efficient to actually be able to manage all of those in one single platform? I mean, on top of that, there's metrics to actually monitor the effectiveness. Data again, right? Every channel, the agent serving those customers, especially if you're a company looking to grow that channel and not rely on information just on one person. So tools like 365, Zendesk allow that. Azure being the solid backbone infra that ties the whole business together, you see. So give an example, one of our customers are Battery Cool, right? They're actually a local company. They do batteries, car batteries on demand. So during the MCO, a lot of people got stuck at home, cannot go out, right? So their batteries died. I know mine did, so I actually called them. They actually came in about 45 minutes. So they used to run a very traditional on-site call center with a few agents managing their customers. So during MCO, nobody can go to the office to actually manage the call center, right? So with Zendesk, now that they are using Zendesk, they actually can go remote very seamlessly. Now they can employ gig workers anytime to man the contact center because it's cloud-based. And the agents are now actually able to accept customer calls or messages just with a flick of the on switch. So in theory, right, it actually allows Grab drivers to be contact center agents when they're sitting idle waiting for the next pickup. Of course, these guys, their majority of contact center agents are actually home-based, so they are not Grab drivers. They're not actually picking up calls when they're driving the car, don't worry. They also grew their contact center 2 or 3 times last year, and they're still growing, in fact, now because their business grew so big because everybody never start their engines. Everybody's batteries were dying. So, and their contact center agents, right, all they need is just a laptop and headset. So from that laptop and headset, right, at home, in the cafe, they're actually able to manage interactions with their customers either through Facebook, WhatsApp, phone calls in just that one app, integrated back to their CRM as well. So if you're stranded, cannot start your car, right, you're already very flustered, right, very frustrated, right? You need to be attended quickly. So systems enable speed. They also do roadside assistance now, so they're expanding very rapidly now.
So it's